Hey everybody, welcome, welcome. I didn't tell everybody that I was alive. I am still trying to process this video a little bit more. I'm not going to lie to you. OMG. Welcome everybody. And this is probably going to be like a two-parter to this. Shout out. Oh my God, how cute. We have a proud keyboard warrior in the chat. Shout out to you. Appreciate your insight and attempt to bring clarity to it's an attempt. I am not an expert at any of what is going on, but I will say this. My goodness, it has definitely given me a different side of Aaron, and I appreciate that different perspective. Um, the question of the hour is this, okay? Are they using OSA tactics, or did they use OSA tactics to remove Aaron from the board in his spot? Somebody that co-founded this foundation, somebody who has been an advocate. And you know what? I don't think that this is something that's going to stop Aaron, which is amazing. It's not going to turn off his light. I hope that he keeps going. Anyways, let me stop. Let me let everybody know that we're live. We're live and we're cooking and doing different things over here. And I said, let me just come over here and try to talk to everybody and process this. Again, this is probably going to be like a two-part video because I'm still processing what he had to say. And it just, man, it made me feel so bad for him. Hold up, y'all. Let me let everybody know. We are live. If I have a mod here, shout out to everybody in the chat. Hey Katie, welcome. We are live now. Just letting everybody know. And then I need to get me a new mouse because this mouse is giving up on me. It's giving up on me. Okay. Shout out to everybody. Thank you for being here. Everything's breaking down. I don't know why. It's just a sign. Hey, welcome everybody. I got to let Discord know that we are live right now as well. Give me one sec, guys. Whew, at everyone. Not that I expect anyone to be here because everybody's, doing their Thanksgiving thing. We are live on the main. I didn't let Twitter know that we were live. This won't be a very long video, but because I'm just certainly trying to process everything. And I know everybody's trying to process everything as well. Hey, Tinkle. Hey, hoping for answers. Shout out to Tinkle Tits, my beautiful, wonderful supporter. Hey, Nola. Man, oh man. Katie, thank you for being here, hoping for answers. Aaron certainly put it out there. And I stated yesterday, I feel like the three others are still wired by Scientology. Hey, Coco. Whew. I am proud of him as well. Um, I'm doing okay. Hey, Chico. Chico, can you let everybody know that? I think I let everybody know already that we were live. But hey, Emily, if you guys, Emily and everybody, if y'all let them know that we're live, this won't be a very long live. Hey, Chaos. Man. Hey, Samantha. Hey, Dazzy. Tazzy, not Dazzy. Tazzy. Gave you a whole new name. Okay. Listen. Emily, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. This video really just, I felt some type of way about this video. And wow. And then everybody's been emailing me as well. There are people that are, like I said, upset that people are saying anything about this. And I'm starting to feel like maybe it's like the other side that is feeling some type of way about anybody speaking or giving commentary to any of this. Thank you. Shout out to the keyboard warriors. Mike is extremely reputable and extremely anti-Scientology. This rubs me the wrong way. There's more behind the scenes, Aaron's is not saying. And there probably is. Then they need to lay it all out there. Because this is just crazy. Okay. Shout out to everybody. Let's just go ahead. This is not going to be a very long live because it is Thanksgiving and I got stuff to do. But I felt like a lot of us that are still kind of, because I'm still processing this, I have to rewatch this video. I do. And I have to take some notes. But this is just clearly coming off of emotion right now watching this. Just let me know your thoughts in the comments, okay?
I choose to believe that one of the things you value most about my approach is what I value most about the approach of the people on YouTube I like watching the most. And that is authenticity, transparency, genuineness, openness, sincerity, love me, hate me. I guess I'm patting myself on the back here, sort of pride myself on never intentionally getting something wrong or misrepresenting something. It doesn't mean I don't get something wrong. It means I'm never obfuscating, being evasive, at least. And again, we all have our blind spots. So if I do it, I'm never intentionally doing that. And I need you guys to know, I want you guys to know that everything I said in my first video was honest, true, sincere, and correct. And the only point of this video is to show you the receipts of that, not to get into a tit for tat or to escalate or anything. I'm going to show you.
I will give him that. He did show that. He showed the receipts of what he said. He said that he was voted off. What my understanding is, the way they do the voting tactic is you don't have to be present. You don't have to vote yourself in or out. Like, I doesn't sound like that's what happened. Thank you, Chico. Thank you for notifying Discord. And that's unapproachable light. That is completely your opinion as well. We're all welcome to different kinds of opinion. Mr. Blue Sky say, how insidious to have the Aftermath Foundation run like a cult and is trying to save people from. I don't know. It's just a lot. Happy Thanksgiving, by the way. Receipts were brutal. This was pretty brutal. Okay. Um.
What I said in my first video is correct. Despite what Marc, Claire, and Mike published about me yesterday in an attempt to discredit me, I have to say they went very quickly from we're not going to say anything, to we're going to publish internal emails to try to make Aaron look bad. Not a great look, guys. Not a great look.
And by the way, I saw the channel. I did share it on the community tab. They shared the email that they wrote to Aaron. So to me, it felt like listen, when you do things right, there's no reason to come back from it, right? Your conscience leaves you alone. There's no reason. This was either a really hard decision for them to make. I'm just going to put it that way, or they just wanted to get this done and they tried to figure out how to do it without looking like the bad guy. I honestly think that they wanted to. Yes, Nancy, thank you. They wanted to out this guy. I don't think they wanted him there anymore. That's what it was, and they didn't really know how to do it. This was a personal and a hostile takeover. The thing is, Aftermath never tried to handle it from a PR perspective, which was a critical error. And they had time to do it, right, Sassy Sister? Absolutely. And harming its members and donors. Aaron trash talked Claire so much in the bits I caught from the today's stream. There was that as well. There was some animosity. They're not friends anymore. He said it. We're not friends anymore. And he's not going to go back and forth with it. But I think part of it too is that I'm trying to figure out how much of this is warranted versus not leaving room for people to speculate other things. And I will say this, I feel like Aaron is not wanting to, if you put something out there, there's a receipt for it. So he's going to put it out, right?
Very slippery slope to start publishing internal private Aftermath Foundation emails. I promise you would not want me doing that to you guys. And I'm not going to. So I hope this is the last thing I have to say on this. I hope it's the last thing you guys have to say on this, because nobody wants this drama. One of the things that's crazy to me about all this is that even based on what they have said publicly, they actually seem to think that the best way for this to all have gone down is for neither of us to have said anything at all. Guys, how crazy is that? That what they think would have been the best way and the best thing for the foundation and the best thing for everybody is for nobody to have said anything? What? Guys, I didn't even do a video for 8 freaking days.
He didn't.
And the news of them voting me off the board of the Aftermath Foundation leaked instantly. And I still said nothing for 8 days. Now you might go, well, why didn't they say anything? Well, exactly. I mean, if this was being handled the way people would expect it to be handled, there would have been a joint statement right from the beginning. But the fact that there wasn't is just a little piece of evidence that this was all very contentious. This was all, very underhanded and behind the back and done in secret. And anyway, I'm not trying. Let's just get to the receipts here. The one thing I said in my video that Marc, Mike, and Claire have continued to say I'm lying about is that about 10, 11, 12 weeks ago, the board, in secret, without my knowledge, voted to approve a new code of ethical conduct. And that 2 Sundays ago, I was voted off of the Aftermath Foundation board for violating this new code of conduct that I did not know had been adopted, and that I violated the code of conduct by publishing a video criticizing attorney Graham Berry for not showing up to a hearing in the Valerie Haney trafficking case against Scientology. Now, in my video, I never said Granberry's name.
If he didn't say the name, right? And this is where I was kind of like, well, why would he be in the wrong in this one? Is the attorney part of the board? No. I don't know. Luna's mom, 24. Thank you for the $20. Who is more honest and transparent than Aaron? This was painful for him. To those of us who watch these channels regularly, the truth is obvious and sad. Thank you for the $20, love.
But Granberry obviously knew he's the one I was talking about. And if you already knew that Granberry was the guy who was supposed to show up, then you knew who I was talking about. But I intentionally didn't say his name because Granberry is an attorney that I otherwise like and respect. Okay. Marc has continued to say that it's not true. No new code of ethical conduct had been adopted, and that there is no article in the code of ethical conduct that prohibits board members from criticizing each other or other people who are doing similar work. Marc, that's too simple. I've got the receipts. So let me just show you this, guys. Okay, that's the conflict of interest one. Let's get the code of conduct. Okay, this here is the code of conduct that was adopted 10, 11, 12 weeks ago. The Aftermath Foundation Agreement of Ethical Teamwork Principles.
Now, I want to stop right here because I was like, this went by very fast for me. The Aftermath Foundation Agreement of Ethical Teamwork Principles. Okay, why isn't this like on their website publicly? Right? Like, it's a nonprofit. It's, in my opinion, I think this should be public because why not? You know, their pages are public. The foundation is public. Donations can be made public. Like, why not just put this out publicly so people understand? Well, when the information got out about what was going on, then people can reference this. Just a thought. Then you would say less as a foundation because you're pretty transparent that way, right? Just a thought. So, as a participant in a charitable activities of the Aftermath Foundation, I pledge my support and adherence to the following principle: honesty, maintain personal integrity in all my relationships related to my work with the Aftermath Foundation. Confidentiality, treat all personal information obtained from our applicants and beneficiaries as confidential and not to share it outside of the organization without approval of the Aftermath Foundation leadership. Okay. And then competition, eliminate unhealthy competition within our organization by focusing on meetings. And then his face is there, so I can't really read that part. And beneficiaries wants and needs rather than on my personal wants and needs. Persons or organizations in whom I have interest. Refrain from publicly disparaging other members or organizations engaged in similar activities. I'm assuming that's what it says to those of the foundation. That is such a broad and umbrella. Refrain from publicly disparaging another person or organizations. That could be anybody. I'm not part of the organization, but if I decide to donate to the organization, then you're not going to criticize me? I don't know. It's a very vague statement to put out there. I don't know. Rabbit exactly. I looked for it and I couldn't find. You can't find it. But if y'all are donors, why not make this public? If everything that Scientology, if everything that you hate, if you hate Scientology, right? Let's just say that Scientology is the enemy, right? Don't you want to do the opposite of what Scientology does? Don't you want to mirror the opposite of that? We're not going to create a cult within a group of survivors, right? So you're going to do everything to make sure that it's the opposite of what you do. Just a thought.
It says here under the item cooperation.
Here it is.
Refrain from public.
So confidentiality, treat all persons' information obtained from our applicants. Okay, from our applicants and beneficiaries as confidential and not to share outside of the organization without approval of the Aftermath Foundation leadership. Competition. Eliminate unhealthy competition within our organization by focusing on meeting applicants and beneficiaries with wants and needs rather than on a personal wants and needs or those of other persons or organization in whom I have interest. Cooperation, refrain from publicly disparaging another person or organization engaged in charitable activities similar to those of the Aftermath Foundation. That is such an umbrella statement. Emily, thank you for gifting memberships, love. Thank you, thank you. If you got a membership from Emily, please drop a rabbit in the chat, or excuse me, a heart. Thank you. Nancy says it was a setup. They said pause. Claus said it was a setup. I feel for AA Ron. This is messed up. And it would thank you, Mary. And this was just a draft. This wasn't voted on. They don't have any meeting minutes on their website. If y'all are having, I don't know, bi-weekly meetings, monthly meetings, however it may seem, those meeting minutes for the donors specifically needs to be on public. They need to be on a public website so people can actually look into to see the transparency. On this meeting, on this date, we've decided, we voted to have, I don't know, $50, $150 to such and such families on this date. This is part of those meetings. On this date, the board decided to remove Aaron, and he was informed on such date. That's how transparency occurs, right? You put those meeting minutes on the website so that people can read them and then assess the situation as it is, right? Luna Moms, thank you so much. Says unrelated, but the BFG and render will kill the viewership on their own. The other topics covered big dumb cake and horrible dentist. Who's going to watch that? They might beg for Aaron's creativity to help them out again. You know what is so crazy is I honestly think that Aaron would help them out again if he want, like, he just he gave me that impression that like he would help them out, like, because they've been friends for I don't know how many years outside of this organization. But thank you again for the $20. The confidential stuff is okay, but the disparaging stuff is so broad and doesn't promote transparency, says Nicola. I'm on the board and every note is online with the spelling errors included. So you're on a board. Nancy says, listen, I'm on a board. Yeah, but that's what you do on a nonprofit. Especially if you ask for public donations and there's donations, you're able to find those meeting minutes. I can't find any of this publicly on their website. It should be public. And it shouldn't be like, well, we're afraid about the office, what is it, the Office of Special Affairs, OSA, and Scientology and what they're going to do and everything that we put public. No, counteract that by being public, counteract that by being transparent. The whole matter was a personal attack on Aaron's credibility. To be exposed, they're using their old tactics, says Infamous. Yep. Anyways.
Publicly disparaging another person or organization engaged in charitable activities similar to those of the Aftermath Foundation. Okay. So that doesn't even say don't criticize your fellow board members.
It doesn't.
It says you cannot publicly criticize any person or organization who is engaged in charitable activities similar to those of the Aftermath Foundation. Now, this could be very easily, not even loosely interpreted, easily interpreted as you can't criticize former Scientologists who help people who leave Scientology.
It's all in the language. And don't they have an attorney on that board? Like if they had an attorney would have been like, listen, let's review the conditionals on these paragraphs. The what does it include? The what is it? The all, everyone, everything, the condition, and or if you do criticize a board member, then expect X, Y, and Z. Or if you criticize this person, and who does this person include? A subscriber, an attorney, somebody related, unrelated to the situation? I don't know. You said it would be good to hear Mike's perspective. I mean, you see, and I'm gonna hear, shout out to Tico Tits in the chat because he's giving his opinion. Like, listen, I feel like there's probably more to this, and maybe they're gonna give a different perspective. But I would have to agree, though, that their approach has been an attack on Aaron's credibility versus just sticking to the facts. Like, stick to the facts of the matter. If Aaron did something, you got, and I called this out yesterday when we went live on the statement. I said, listen, you guys had no problem with this man, whatever he had done in LA or Clearwater, or whatever the situation may have been. However he handled it, you guys had no problem with it because you voted, you were okay with it on November 3rd, right? I'm going by the statement. No problem with it. You allowed him back. So what happened? What happened November 6th? I think that's how it was, the timeline. I'm coming up with different dates on my head.
You can't criticize former Scientologists who support the Aftermath Foundation. You can't criticize anyone who's ever donated to the Aftermath Foundation. You can't criticize anyone who's even so much as posted on Facebook in support of the Aftermath Foundation. I won't rehash it. I said it in my first video. I gave examples of people I have very rightly criticized on my channel that, based on this new code of conduct, I would be prohibited from doing. Okay. Now, Marc's gotten his messaging a little wrong here. In one breath, he says there's no new ethical code of conduct. But in another breath, he says, I violated it. Actually, look, I take back that last statement. I need to be more accurate on this. Okay. Where do I want to go next on this? Okay, the next place that I want to go on this, I think, is I want to show you something.
And he took back that statement. I'm thinking about this because he said, if I remember correctly, that there is nothing new. Like they sat there and we played over this clip, right? And it was something to the effect of like, this is he wasn't set up, there was nothing new, nothing voted or anything like that. But it's interesting because Aaron doesn't even bring up the fact that there's like he didn't bring up the fact that there's married couples on this board. I'm so glad you said that. You've got 3 couples and seems like they're all friends. Sounds like the Mean Girls to me. Well, and some of them are married, right, Debbie? Or excuse me, Deb, right, Deb? Gave you a different name, love. Right, Deb? Some of it is just not jiving, you guys.
Out of the statement that the Aftermath Foundation put out about me yesterday. Okay.
Hold up, you guys.
We're going to take this step by step. On May 23rd, 2023, several board members were alerted to misconduct by Aaron Smith-Levin. Okay. I'm going to share something with you guys I've never wanted to share before.
I hate this part.
Actually, we're going to fast forward to a statement that the Aftermath Foundation published from an internal email I sent on August 29th. Bear with me, guys. The statement is, quote, this was an email from me to Claire. I never sent you anything after our last phone call last Sunday, and I said that I would. To summarize, I recognize that my judgment and decision-making in my personal life has been quite careless over the past 5 years or so.
Oh my gosh.
Considering the level of scrutiny and potential menace from OSA. Okay, so that was one thought. I've been quite careless over the past 5 years or so, considering the level of scrutiny and potential menace from OSA. One might think this has been obvious to me before now, but it truly was not. What happened in Los Angeles, and also reading these OSA programs for the first time, has been a massive eye-opener for me. I assure you I will not expose myself to such risk or put myself in a similar position in the future. Now, guys, I want to point out a piece of this language here. I'm trying to get through this, guys. Let me point out to you the part where it says, I recognize that my judgment and my decision-making in my personal life.
I hate this. I hate this. You know, I would imagine, I'm not a Scientologist, okay? But I would imagine that the trauma that these people have gone through to kind of try to like mimic it, redo it, it's just heartbreaking. Hey, Johnny Crack TV. I cannot. Why did they share this part?
Quite careless over the past 5 years or so. Okay, I'm going to get through this. Does it strike you that my use of the language, 5 years or so, is awfully specific? What could that date or that amount of time correlate to in any way, shape, or form?
I cannot.
Fuck. It's okay. It's okay. I've had enough sleep. I'm ready for this. Guys, 5 years or so refers to the amount of time that
Poor guy.
Okay, I don't even have water. Okay, 5 years or so is approximately the amount of time that my wife and I have basically been separated. Now, on my channel and with everyone in my life, I am an open book, okay? Everyone in my personal life knows what I just told you.
Who you know what? He took that power away. Shout out to him for doing that. He took that power away. Yeah. This was just too much. Like, why put that piece out there? Because then he's having to come back and talk about the narrative, right? Putting that on him. But these were people that he considered friends. It is hard to watch.
This is the one thing I have always refused to talk about on my channel. Because let's be honest, I shouldn't fucking have to.
No.
It's nobody's business.
No.
I have never spoken about it, not because of my privacy concerns, but for the privacy concerns of my wife and my children.
And to be fair, anybody that speaks, we've heard the stories. I'm not a Scientologist, but yo, we've heard the stories, right? Where people that speak out and share their trauma or share the things that have been done to them, they get re-traumatized. They get villainized. They get attacked. They get stalked, right? Not just Aaron, but everyone that has spoken against this machine, right? Um, Shout out to you guys for doing that. But he's absolutely right. He doesn't have to. He doesn't have to. Nobody has to come out here and provide a story or provide context or even share their trauma about what has happened to them. And Emily, thank you for being a member for 8 months. Happy Thanksgiving. I'm so thankful for being able to be a part of this amazing channel and always look forward to seeing you all. Thank you. And again, Emily, thank you for gifting earlier. You are awesome. Shout out to those that are here. I'm just processing this. That's all. I'm probably going to do this a two-parter because I feel like I need to rewatch this again with everybody and just pull what I'm able to assess from that situation.
Okay. I'm telling you something on this video that I've never told to my children. My children watch my videos sometimes. They might see this and they'll probably go, gee, mommy and daddy never told us that. But they'll probably also go, that makes a lot of sense. Okay. Now, for the last 5 years, and honestly, when I check a calendar, it might be closer to 4, but I'm saying 5 because 5 years is what this paragraph and what this email refers to. Okay.
Wow. Oh, and Peg Cole says, Life, oh, shout out to Lifeboat. They were in my comments. Also shout out to, there's another, let me shout out a couple people because there was just people don't want people to talk about this. This is, and I'm not joking when I say that. Like, people do not want people to talk about this situation. You guys don't even know the emails that I've gotten. And I'm trying to be very careful. I am not an expert about what's going on, but there are some emails that are going out there where people are being, how do I say this, politely threatened to not talk about this. Is that the best way to put it? Politely threatened not to say thanks. So shout out to you guys. Shout out to the creators that are giving commentary, and you guys check them out. Lifeboat channel is one of them. And there's several other ones. Drop them in the chat, the names that are talking about this. But Lifeboat channel is covering this as well, getting a lot of heat. So that is true. We are getting a lot of heat. If you're talking about this, and I'm not even going to talk about this, it's a lot of stuff that I've been getting in my email box about even commentating on this. Peggy, thank you for the $9.99 again.
Okay. I have been living differently the past 5 years, maybe 4 to 5 years, than I was prior to that. And by my own admission, I have been rather careless with who I spend time with. especially considering the level of scrutiny that I'm under by OSA and the potential menace that OSA represents. You guys know from me and my personality and my channel that I tend to have this F you OSA, F you Scientology, F you Miscavige, there's nothing you can do to me. You can't touch me. Anything you try to do to me, I'm going to turn back on you anyway.
Yep.
Bring it on. I've pretty much been living that way for the last 4 to 5 years. And something happened in Los Angeles 6 months ago that was honestly the most potentially dangerous situation I had ever put myself in. And it was utterly embarrassing and humiliating. And yet it was still purely in this category of my personal relationships and my personal private life. It had nothing to do with the Aftermath Foundation. And any of the incidents that Marc, Mike, and Claire published about me yesterday to try and just discredit me and shame me were all of the variety of my personal relationships, my personal private life. I think it is noteworthy that I have managed to not be forced to talk about this. Over the last 5 years, 4 to 5 years, that Scientology has tried to publicly humiliate me and shame me on this topic, even on the website that they put up about me. And I've kept my mouth shut because I don't care what Scientology says about me. I do care what Mike, Marc, and Claire say about me. And they know that this is not something I would willingly publicly discuss. They know that the only way for me to defend myself against what they published about me yesterday, I would have to discuss this. And I believe they were counting on me being too ashamed to talk about it.
Yep.
And that's why I'm talking about it, to take the power away.
Good. Shout out to Aaron.
Okay. So let's go back to this letter.
What is there to be ashamed of? Okay. What is there to be ashamed of? Stop that. And Elizabeth Launders, thank you so much for being a member for 1 month. Johnny Crack TV, shout out to Johnny Crack TV, by the way. The foundation was trying to fair game Aaron. Look at you guys. Look at you guys. I'm not saying he wouldn't do it, but I would say that they would have a big civil suit if he wanted to pull something to basically just stand for what he stands on, his morals and ethics. I just cannot, you guys.
And also, okay, let's see. On May 23rd, guys, I'm sorry if this is a little too small, okay? But on May 23rd, 2023, several board members were alerted to misconduct by Aaron Smith-Levin. In everything that Marc and Mike and Claire have published about me over the last several days, they keep referring to misconduct. And I've seen a lot of people in the questions being like, I don't understand why you guys aren't being specific about what it is. Like, I don't understand. If you're going to accuse him of misconduct, why don't you say what it is? And one of the things that Marc and Mike said is, we can't possibly throw Aaron under the bus in that way because OSA would use it to take him out and destroy him. That is such an empty, cowardly thing to hide behind, because Mike, Marc, and Claire all know that any alleged misconduct, and I promise you this, OSA knows every last detail of it.
But who cares? Who cares? Who cares? If he got into legal trouble, if there's a mugshot, that would be out there. When you sit there and you give so much power to an entity, they're going to have it. One of the things that these people that have survived and have in their hands, especially Aaron, for example, or Mike and all these people, is the ability to talk about it, right? The ability to expose it. Who cares what Scientology has? Who cares? The fact that they would even say, well, it would just expose them, the people, even that language is like, who are you giving power to? This man is taking his power back by speaking out. So who cares? You kind of give Scientology leverage when you speak that way, right? I mean, I could be wrong.
OSA already knows. So they're not saying, we're protecting Aaron by not telling you what he did. No, they're protecting themselves because of how bad it would make them look to, one, reveal my personal private information, or two, to reveal to all of you that what they're holding against me is things I've done in my own personal private life based on my own familial and marital situation.
That have nothing to do with the board, right? Has nothing to do with the board.
That have nothing to do with the Aftermath Foundation. And I believe
Exactly.
they're counting on the fact that I would be too ashamed to just tell you what I've been trying not to publicly discuss for 4 to 5 years now.
Right,
Okay, back to the
Chiefs.
letter. Several board members were alerted to misconduct by Aaron Smith-Levin. Over the next few days, the board discussed this matter and what to do, including reviewing his history of incidents of misconduct that had been brought to the attention of the board members previously. 2 of these included law enforcement involvement. The board considered asking Aaron to voluntarily resign. 2 years ago, when I was running for city council, I was involved in an altercation at my favorite bar on Clearwater Beach called the Fusion Cigar Lounge. I was assaulted at the bar.
Now, my understanding is that Clearwater is like ran by Scientologists, right? So who are they going to side with in any situation? Scientology. Mm.
I called the police. The guy who assaulted me ran away. I called the police. The police showed up, and I spilled my guts to them because I'm generally not someone who has something to hide. And I told everything that needed to be said to the police because I had nothing to hide from them. I tend to be too much of an open book, especially when you're talking to police who have body cams running, and then Scientology is going to pull the body cams and publish those interviews to try to embarrass you and humiliate you. The Tampa Bay Times wrote an article about this altercation while I was running for city council 2 years ago. It was embarrassing. It was humiliating. But the one thing I never publicly commented on at that time was this fact about my separation. I wasn't willing to defend myself at that time by publicly speaking about that. That article also mentioned a couple years prior when I was at my first Mardi Gras event in Dunedin, Florida. One of my friends had one of the floats in the parade. Anyway, we got absolutely blitzed on Mardi Gras, and I got a little rowdy in a bar and was asked to leave. And I guess that it was Mardi Gras, so the police were everywhere. So I walked out of the bar. Apparently I was trespassed from the bar. I didn't even know I had been trespassed from this bar until the newspaper article came out. I thought I just left the bar and had a chat with a friendly police officer and went on my way. Anyway, my point is, these 2 incidents of the police being called, guys, I've already done videos about this. And this was years ago. But Marc, Mike, and Claire wanted you to know that
He's already addressed this. Right? So why is this even part of what has happened? Why is this even part of any letter? Why is this even part of the conversation? It's so confusing to me.
somehow that's related to them voting me off of the board a couple weeks ago. Okay. It says that they considered asking me to voluntarily resign. And then in response to this, on May 28th, the president of the board, Luis Garcia, resigned. He was asked not to resign. He was not asked to resign, nor was he forced out. He resigned. The board asked Luis to reconsider his decision. He did not respond to this request. This is a misrepresentation, and they know that Luis Garcia does not care enough about any of this to jump into the conversation and correct the record. But I will speak, not for Luis, but for myself.
Luis hasn't said anything. Why do you think that is? It's the low-key blackmail over his personal life that really makes AF look bad, says Johnny.
The board did not consider asking me to resign. The board conspired behind my back for 2 weeks without consulting me in any way to vote me off of the board against Luis's wishes. And when Claire had all the votes that she wanted, she told Luis to tell me that I was out. And Luis said, no. You did this. You tell him he's out. And Claire said, Luis, do your job or resign. If you're not going to do your job, you should step down. And Luis felt he had no choice but to step down, and he stepped down. So yes, he stepped down, but yes, he was forced out. That's my personal comment on that. Okay. On May 30th, Claire Headley was voted in as the new president of the foundation. That's correct. On June 3rd, the board asked Aaron to resign based on his history of misconduct in violation of Article 7 of the bylaws implemented by the founding members in 2017. The bylaws says Article 7, conduct. Because of its strong beliefs in high moral standards based on traditional values, the organization reserves the right to expect from all of its officers and directors to maintain high moral standards and social values that do not conflict with traditional spiritual morals. Okay, everything in that part of the letter is technically accurate. I've seen people go, what in the hell are a bunch of former Scientologists doing, putting something in bylaws about acting in accordance with traditional spiritual morals?
That confused me,
To
by
that
the
question is
way.
very simple. These bylaws were just put together by Luis Garcia, not anyone else, not the attorney, by Luis Garcia as boilerplate, standard cut and paste bylaws that needed to be put together in order to form the corporation and create a legal entity. These bylaws were not put together by vote. Input was not provided or requested. It was purely boilerplate paperwork. And yet, back at that time, back 2 years ago, 6 months ago, when after this incident that happened in Los Angeles, which I will speak about eventually, now is not the right time for me to go into detail on that. You guys have my word that in the near future, I estimate about 3 months, I'm going to speak about that in detail for a different reason. And when I do, I will say, hey guys, this story we're talking about right now, this is what was such a big deal back in May.
Okay, let me stop right here. This is so interesting that the language of the bylaw, right? Aren't these people recovering from spiritual abuse? Like, the language that was used, and maybe that was just something to do so that they wouldn't get in trouble and they wouldn't lose their whatever, whatever. Maybe that was just like, let's just put that in there. But isn't that the like the language is crazy? So then use that language, and these are people covering from spiritual abuse. Am I off? Like this is, yeah, let's put some bylaws in there that ensure that you're following whatever we put in there. It's only perpetuating. It's just perpetuating abuse. Does that seem off? And I was thinking about this because I went live yesterday. I said, I really should have just processed this a little bit more, but it truly is that. They're words that perpetuate spiritual abuse. It's part of your bylaws. Guys, I'm going to stop right here. I am going to review, I want to review this longer. I'm going to rewatch it, but I've stopped at the, and I'm going to say it out loud so I don't forget the timestamp, 24 minutes and 14-second mark, because I have to go tend to baby bunny and we got holiday stuff going on. So I got to go tend to that. But if you're watching this with me, make sure you subscribe. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. We're going to watch this together again, finish the rest of this. I want to go back a little bit to take some screenshots of what Aaron showed us. And then there's some emails that I got that are very interesting as well, to kind of add more context to a couple things that have been said. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I got to go tend to baby bunny and do this whole holiday Thanksgiving thing. Right, Mama? Right? Thank you for the phone, Mama. Thank you. Okay. Yes. Okay. The TV. Yes, honey. Them right here. I know we gotta go. No. Okay. All right. I will see you guys on the next one. I gotta process this too as well. So I promise you, I will get back to this. I promise you guys. Thank you guys, and again, thank you so much to the super chats. Thank you, Emily, for gifting, and thank you to my beautiful mods and my members. I'm just so happy. Peggy, thank you again, and everybody. I will see you guys the next time. Please have your notifications on, because I want to get deeper into this and I just can't right now. All right. Bye, guys.